My first love, and it's called Lost. The movie let out at 10:30, but we talked in the front seat of your car until morning. I shivered and you turned on your heat. It didn't help. I was so nervous I could hear the bones of my silence knocking on the window. My palms were covered in glitter, but you couldn't see. They looked like star clusters shaking against the movie theater lights. I have never been so graceful for the lack of street lamps. I left cherry chapstick on your lips. Our fingers were a perfect match tonight. They just feel empty. I only want to sleep inside your hands, your perfect hands. My love is like a bicycle in winter, left to rust in the cold shoulders of too many endings. My friends tell me love is the bravest thing, and I'm no coward. But I'm not saying that I love you. I'm just saying that I could. You still shine in the middle of the night, even when you're tired and full of sass. I want to come home to you someday. You are the safest place I have ever known. Remember the first time we held hands, how the night unfolded itself like a fitted sheet. The corners were all wrong. Awkward was, and it still is, our song. You said your favorite fruit was lemons. I told you my favorite fruit was cherries. I didn't mean to lick my lips. I didn't mean to let you see me fall like this. But can you call it falling when gravity does not live here? How many times have you loved something that only ever slapped your softest parts? Yes. I sat on the hillside for months after you left. The record player played out the last 7 months on loop. I never let it rest. Records lay in the grass like blue bonnets or landmines. When the memories grew too loud, the leaves and my hands shook like autumn. I covered my ears and pulled my knees to my chest. I could not listen to our favorite songs until winter knit at my bare feet and mother called me back inside. Our last good summer, a picnic I had to leave behind. The blanket and basket empty as the space in my chest. The record player is tired of and beginning to skip. Our history is full of scratches. None of the songs played the way they used to. But I have this hill. I have this tree, the wind. I can smell honeysuckle and the rain on the backs of the clouds. Thank you.
All right, Roselle, you next.
I'm going to take it back to the opposite side of the spectrum now. So, it's a new day. The sun has shone, rain has fallen, words have been written, and a new journey is calling our names. With each moon that passes at night, dawn breaks, words exchange, text relay, and I pray, you and I, to be all right. With the rise of noon, a pot of coffee permeates. The sizzle of eggs, I salivate, but your words cultivated a deep rut, turned into a turned gut. I can't help but think that any moment you're going to break up with me. I can't eat, I can't drink. The plate of food sits untouched, it turns stagnant, cold and dry, my heart, my life without you. So I get up to chase the sun's rays because life will go on day by day, despite our fights and the dumb things we say, no matter how much I want the world to stop for me. For me. It doesn't happen that way. So I slave it out, ball and chain, tied up to this every day, the mundane, and then my phone vibrates and rings. We belong together. I answer. We converse, sweet talk, baby, I love you, banter back and forth, but then it stops. Somewhere, somehow, it turned. And our voices get louder, stouter, clouder. What the hell, baby? You're the only one. Insecurity, infidelity, you and me, hang up. My heart breaks a little more after that, thinking everything will be all right. Even though I know so very well you hate our fights. I get lost in my thoughts until night falls and I go back to bed. I close my eyes and ask myself to dream. But then again, I awake only to think that it's a new day. The sun has shone, rain has fallen, words have been written, and a new journey is calling our name. And with each moon that passes at night, Dawn breaks, words exchange, text relay, and I pray Atewan Kankanka to Gashua, Makiaye, for you and I to be all right.
Rachel, please.
This poem is titled, My Daughter Will Be Named After Wisdom Herself. She'll have frizzy ringlet curls with sturdy fists made for hips, and a presence comparable only to music. But her beautiful body will be ignored, for the intelligence gleaming within her eyes will make Apollo jealous with their brilliance. She'll take after Minerva's nocturnal owl, spending moon hours reading by starlight and sunlit afternoons filled with catnaps. Her voice will be gentle yet firm, because she won't want anyone to mistake grace for weakness. And she'll wear a sharp, mischievous grin, with clothes covered in mud, glowing with pride over her unleashed hell. Her anger will chill both tempers and bones, the drums of war beating with her every self-assured step. Her very existence will be so breathtaking, none could conceivably refute the notion that divinity stands among them. And when she comes home with eyes dulled because an ignorant boy taunted her name, I will tell her to ask him, I am Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. Who the hell are you?
All right, Rachel. All right, Julian, you're up.
This isn't really a poem. It was an assignment. My teacher, she said to the class, I want you to write down 7 characteristics that represent you. And the assignment was called Who Am I? And when she gave that to me, I was looking around, and the first thing I seen on other people's papers was people saying, I am respectful and I am humble, which kind of threw me for a loop. But these are we'll get to that. So, I am loyal, I am motivated, I am understanding, I am truth, I am positive, I am confidence, and I am sense of humor. Here we go. Who am I? It honestly took me a few minutes to think about what 7 good characteristics that make up who I am. I really didn't sit back and think to myself, well, what a good person I am. Who does that? We all have a bad side. We all have history. And I want to believe that we all have skeletons in our closet. And there are many more bad characteristics and possibly more good ones, more than I have good. But since we're talking about the positive traits I have, let's do that. The 7 that I have listed above are all spelled with understanding. Understanding births all of these, and without it, none exist. I was reluctant to say respectful and humble, not because 3/4 of the class are going to say it, but because we should all carry these traits. When one says, I am respectful or I am humble, it defeats the purpose of humility and the definition of both words. I was reluctant to put down anything because it is good to tell yourself these good things and what you do for your people. And when you tell it, I believe it counsels whatever you did or plan on doing. And anything you do positive for people should not be planned. Understanding comes in many ways and shapes and takes many forms. With understanding, one can recognize one's worth and be willing to be loyal to that person. With understanding, one can tell the person who is worth knowing the truth about how they feel about that person, and confidence, and with confidence. And one will be positive in the way of using their sense of humor to motivate another into understanding. With understanding comes respect. That is how my math goes. So who am I is not the question. Who is willing to find out for themselves is. Thank you.
All right, we're back to the last 2. First, so come on. All right, best other one. Good. All right. You want to go first or you want to go first? Ooh. Okay. Last round. Julian, take the mic.
You want to drop a beat real quick? This is called The Land. I'm from Oklahoma. And this is about where I'm from, Mount Scott, where I'm from. It's called The Land. The first morning sunlight cracked a smile on the land, melting the morning grass, dew like spilt water on concrete on a summer afternoon. As the sun rays shine down on the trees, turning the brown leaves to beautiful bright yellows, reds, and oranges, the sun gets brighter and brighter, shining on the trees, leaving thousands of shadows racing up the hills with laughter and happiness. Birds of all tribes come together and sing in soft innocence and harmony, bring together a peaceful melody that can be heard for miles and miles. Slowly feeling the cold fade away like a bad dream, leaving the sky warm like the feeling of you when you wake up to the angel who gave you birth. As the dawn turns into dusk, the sun slowly sets in the west. The clouds gradually come over the mountain like warriors on horseback coming home from battle. Electricity is in the clouds. The air is warm with a little breeze, but humid, leaving the rocks slippery. Millions of mosquitoes flying with their packs, scenting coming rain. Beautiful long strings of blue and gray lights dance through the sky with silence and grace, illuminating the land underneath it. Bringing forth a mild wind that glides through the long grass, swaying back and forth, smoother even than your best day. Clouds open up with tears of joy, sprinkling life to life. Animals coming out of their homes, saying goodbye to Grandpa Winter, watching the light show from Mother Earth, and smiling up at Father Sky, giving God, the Creator, thanks for beauty all around them. Thank you.
All right, your final go. Let's go to yours.
So, I'm actually also from Oklahoma, and this is also sort of a home poem, and it's dedicated to my best friend. Since as long as I can remember, I've never known a sky that didn't reside in Oklahoma. The clouds there were such a cheese, because they were, every time it looked like I could touch them, but they were always out of my reach. It was like that for me with everything, especially with the moon. As long distance as our relationship would be, when it could, the moon would say goodnight. And when I couldn't, well, it wouldn't speak to me for days. It is a fact that the moon holds grudges. I know this because when I left to New Mexico, he didn't show his face. When I would look up for him, I would only be greeted by stars. But I was no paparazzi. I wanted the moon and all of his shine. A few days later, I met this kid, who I swore seemed so familiar, like I've seen him somewhere. He had canyons for eyes and hair longer than mine. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was pretty strange. We only ever really spoke at night, but there was something that had me drawn to him. He had craters on his face, smiles shaped like crest with lunar on his lips. Why do I know his gaze so well? Or the movement of his hands, the shaking of his fingers could move mountains, but he moved guitar strings instead. The notes fell like marionettes, and the curtains resonated in eardrums, leaving your fingers tip-tapping. He has more soul than I do in my shoes and feet. I thank his ancestors for that, the things he's seen in all of his stories, but the voice box he knows to take credit for when it's due, or at least I hope it's starting to. And after constant conversation, I am certain that we've never met, at least not in this life. As for the moon, well, he came back, but now I'm pretty sure that there's two. Thank you.
All right, give it up for these two. And then take it up to the judges.